reason that the AP was barred, which they said was because they're not using the phrase Gulf of America, they're using Gulf of Mexico in line with their standards. And so the question here is this setting a precedent that this White House will retaliate against reporters who don't use the language that you guys believe reporters should use? And how does that align with the First Amendment commitment that you were just talking about?
I was very upfront in my briefing on day one that if we feel that there are lies being pushed by outlets in this room, we are going to hold those lies accountable.
And this should have been done by Biden years ago. This should have never been allowed to happen. I know he's a friend of yours.
But couldn't Putin just withdraw his...
He's a friend of
today?
CNN. That's why nobody watches CNN anymore.
Karoline Leavitt and Kaitlan Collins have clashed once again, and this time the tension is bigger than ever. Ever since Karoline stepped into the role of White House press secretary, these two have been going back and forth, with every heated exchange drawing even more attention. But their latest confrontation has become so intense that many people are now wondering how Collins is still holding her ground after what happened on live TV. So what exactly did Karoline say that left Collins struggling to respond in front of everyone? And could this be the moment that seriously damages Collins' credibility once and for all? Keep watching, because this showdown is one people are not going to forget anytime soon. Over the past few weeks, Karoline Leavitt and CNN's Kaitlan Collins have traded several headline-making jabs, sparking nonstop reactions across social media and political news circles. But their newest clash has created such a massive media storm that it's quickly turning into one of the biggest political moments people can't stop talking about. It all began when Collins, never one to back away from a challenge, believed she had finally cornered Leavitt with one tough question.
Which White House official made the decision to bar the AP reporter from the Oval Office and the diplomatic reception room last night?
Well, first of all, let me just set the record straight. It is a privilege to cover this White House. It's a privilege to be the White House press secretary. And nobody has the right to go into the Oval Office and ask the President of the United States questions. That's an invitation that is given. And there are hundreds of outlets on this campus, many of you in this room who don't have the privilege of being part of that pool every single day and getting to ask the president questions. We reserve the right to decide who gets to go into the Oval Office, and you all have credentials to be here, including the Associated Press, who is in this briefing room today.
That question may have sounded simple, maybe even harmless at first, but make no mistake, there was a lot more behind it. This wasn't just a casual question from Collins. It felt like a carefully planned setup, the kind designed to create one of those viral gotcha moments everyone talks about online. Collins seemed confident that she was about to catch the Trump team in a major contradiction, and judging by her expression, she clearly thought she had the upper hand. But here's where things took a turn. Karoline Leavitt isn't a rookie spokesperson who gets rattled under pressure or loses track of her message. She saw exactly where Collins was trying to take the conversation long before the trap was fully set. Instead of walking straight into it, Leavitt calmly flipped the entire exchange around in real time, leaving Collins struggling to regain control of the moment. When Karoline pointed out that access to the Oval Office is not automatically guaranteed to every journalist, she wasn't just responding to the question, she was setting up a response that completely shifted the energy in the room. In a matter of seconds, the conversation turned upside down, and Collins suddenly looked caught off guard before she could even react. It was one of those moments where control of the narrative changed instantly, and the shift was impossible to miss. Now listen closely to this next clip, and afterward I'll share my thoughts on what really happened here.
And so the question here is this setting a precedent that this White House will retaliate against reporters who don't use the language that you guys believe reporters should use? And how does that align with the First Amendment commitment that you were just talking about?
I was very upfront in my briefing on day one that if we feel that there are lies being pushed by outlets in this room, we are going to hold those lies accountable. And it is a fact that the body of water off the coast of Louisiana is called the Gulf of America. And I'm not sure why news outlets don't want to call it that, but that is what it is.
After losing the big moment she thought she had, Kaitlan Collins finally revealed what this whole setup was really about. Her goal was to turn the Associated Press being blocked from certain Oval Office access into a major talking point. The idea was simple: paint the Trump administration as defenders of free speech during campaigns, but accuse them of changing their tune once back in power. Collins clearly believed she had uncovered the perfect contradiction, and for a moment, it looked like she was ready to run with it. But that's where everything started falling apart. Karoline Leavitt, staying calm and completely in control, pushed back hard with a sharp response that immediately changed the direction of the conversation. She reminded everyone that she had openly promised to hold members of the media accountable for reporting she described as misleading, dishonest, or politically driven. According to Leavitt, accountability also means that media outlets cannot expect unlimited access while spreading information the administration believes is false. Her point was clear. Freedom of the press does not automatically protect news organizations from criticism or consequences. And within seconds, what Collins hoped would become a major expose suddenly turned into another difficult moment for her on live television. But did Collins back down after that exchange? Not even close. In fact, here she is once again going head-to-head, this time with none other than Donald Trump himself.
Mr. President, you won the White House in part because of high inflation. If your tariffs make prices go up...
Excuse me, we haven't asked you to speak yet, please. Right?
Donald Trump pushed back against Kaitlan Collins, not because she was asking difficult questions, but because the exchange had started turning more confrontational than productive. From Trump's point of view, the press conference had a structure, and he was the one deciding which reporters spoke and when. Once he moved on to another journalist, he expected the conversation to end there. But instead of stepping back and waiting for another opportunity, Collins continued pressing forward while other reporters were waiting for their turn. Trump responded by shutting the exchange down and redirecting the room, arguing that he was simply maintaining order and giving others a chance to ask questions. The easier move for Collins may have been to wait and return later with another question, but by then the tension had already taken over the room, turning the moment into yet another viral clash. And Trump still wasn't done. While responding to a separate question involving Mitch McConnell, he took another jab at Collins, once again making it clear who was controlling the pace of the press conference.
RFK Jr. as the next health secretary, citing conspiracy theories. What's your reaction to that?
Well, I feel sorry for Mitch. And I was one of the people that he wanted to go to the end and he wanted to stay leader. He's not equipped mentally. He wasn't equipped 10 years ago mentally, in my opinion. He'd let the Republican Party go to hell. If I didn't come along, the Republican Party wouldn't even exist right now. Mitch McConnell never really had it. He had an ability to raise money because of his position as leader, which anybody could do. You could do it even, and that's saying a lot.
Donald Trump knows how to deliver a sharp comeback, and this time Kaitlan Collins was the target. With a few quick remarks, Trump put Collins on the defensive before landing his biggest jab, comparing her to Mitch McConnell during the exchange. The room briefly went quiet as the comment landed, and Collins appeared caught off guard. What started as another tense press moment quickly turned into a viral clash, with Trump making it clear he intended to stay in control of the conversation. But even then, he still wasn't finished.
And this should have been done by Biden years ago. This should have never been allowed to happen. I know he's a friend of yours.
But couldn't Putin just withdraw his...
He's a friend of CNN. That's why nobody watches CNN anymore, because they have no credibility.
Donald Trump has been clashing with CNN for years, and his confrontations with the network have become some of the most talked about moments in politics. Many people still remember his heated exchanges with Jim Acosta during White House briefings, and now some viewers see Kaitlan Collins stepping into a similar role. Trump has repeatedly accused CNN of pushing biased coverage, while CNN reporters continue pressing him with tough questions in return. These tense back-and-forth moments often go viral because both sides are trying to control the narrative, and this latest clash with Collins quickly became another headline-making encounter.
When they went to the Capitol and they were breaking into the Capitol, smashing windows, injuring police officers, why did it take you 3 hours to tell them to go home?
I don't believe it did. Oh, let me pull it out. I have to pull it out. So if you look at, on January 5th, the day before, I said, please support our Capitol Police and law enforcement. They are truly on the side of our country. Stay peaceful. Stay peaceful. This was the day before, and this was in the form of Twitter. Now use Truth Social. I think it's far superior, okay?
Donald Trump firmly asserted his authority during the exchange, making it clear that he was in control of the discussion. While asking tough questions is part of a journalist's job, he appeared to believe the conversation should have been handled with more respect and stronger factual backing. Trump responded confidently, reinforcing his position while pushing back against the remarks directed at him.
I hope everybody's on Truth. If you look, January 6th, this is before 2:30. I am asking for everyone at the U.S. Capitol to remain peaceful. This is right after, as it was happening. But what happened is they took it down I don't know why. I think they took it down because it was so good. They didn't like it being up there. I am asking, and we didn't know until I got it back, because now I have 90 million people waiting for me to go back, but I'm on truth, and I'm staying on truth. Listen, I am asking for everyone at the U.S. Capitol to remain peaceful. No violation. We want no violation. We want no violence. Remember, we are the party of law and order. Respect the law and our great men and women in blue. Thank you. That was at 2:30. That was very early.
Supporters of Donald Trump argue that he has repeatedly pointed to past statements and video clips to defend himself against claims surrounding January 6th. They believe many media outlets, including CNN, spent years pushing a narrative that painted Trump as responsible for encouraging chaos at the Capitol, while ignoring moments where he called for peace and respect for law enforcement. During exchanges with reporters like Collins, Trump has often pushed back forcefully, accusing parts of the media of spreading misleading or politically motivated coverage. These confrontations have become major talking points because Trump uses them to challenge critics directly and reinforce his argument that the media has treated him unfairly for years.
Why you held on to those documents when you knew the federal government was seeking them and then had given you a subpoena to return them?
Are you ready? Are you ready? Can I talk?
Yeah, what's
you
the
mind?
answer?
Do you mind?
I would like for you to answer the question.
Okay, it's very simple to answer.
That's why I asked it.
It's very simple you're a nasty person, I'll tell you.
Supporters of Donald Trump argue that even when he presented statements and evidence defending his actions, many major media outlets continued framing the story in the most negative way possible. In their view, critics were determined to keep pushing the same narrative no matter what information was presented. They believe that whenever Trump called for peace or condemned violence, opponents dismissed it or claimed it was not sincere, while the media focused more on damaging headlines than balanced reporting. Trump has repeatedly accused news organizations of shaping public perception instead of simply reporting facts, and his supporters see moments like these as proof of growing frustration between him and the press. At the same time, Karoline Leavitt has continued defending Trump aggressively during these exchanges, often turning tense media moments into viral political clashes involving reporters like Kaitlan Collins and other critics.
The historic proposal for the United States to take over Gaza, announced by President Trump last night, underscores this commitment. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. President Trump is an outside-of-the-box thinker and a visionary leader who solves problems that many others, especially in this city, claim are unsolvable.
Karoline Leavitt argued that critics and major media outlets keep repeating the same strategies over and over, expecting a different outcome every time. From her supporters' perspective, reporters continue trying to bait Donald Trump and his team with tough exchanges, selective clips, and headline-driven moments, only to end up facing pushback when Trump or Karoline responds forcefully. They see these confrontations as a pattern that has played out for years, with both sides battling to control the narrative in front of the public. Supporters often praise Trump and Karoline for staying aggressive under pressure and turning tense interviews into viral moments that energize their audience. And with that, we wrap up today's video. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and check back for the next episode.